Testing. Can you guys hear me now? All right, that should be a lot better. All right, there we go. No sound. All right, now hopefully you guys can hear me. Yeah, you can hear me now. All right, so sorry about the sweating. I just finished doing a workout. So anyway, and I cut it too close. I was supposed to be done in a half hour, and I cut it way too close. So do apologize for that. Now, this morning, guys, we have a lot to talk about. There's a lot of shit going on. Apparently, as we all know, the world is cracking in two with all the bullshit that's going on. I can't believe half the shit that is going on. And then some of the things I'm like, well, it's right on fucking cue, right? So it is. I hate to say it is what it is, but yeah. Mama Falori, it's humid here too. It's disgusting. It's fucking out of control. All right, so where do we start? So many things going on. Supposedly, gas is going to top $5. They said soon. I think probably in July or so we're going to see the national average. I mean, is $5 because there are places in the United States where it is $5 now. New York was touching it and then it went down. Now it's I think it's back at $5. I think. So obviously, guys, we all know what's going on with that. Now, according to this article, not only will it top $5, but we will have more trouble headed this way. Now, gas presents an ever worsening problem in North America, who often relies exclusively on cars to get around or where we need. So, AAA is saying nearly 1 in 4 Americans are paying more than $5 per gallon as prices aren't likely to improve. Well, thank you for that. And plus, it's going to obviously go up because it's going to be during the peak of traveling season, which is normally the July weekend, right? Sorry, the July 4th weekend is the peak of it. So we'll probably see 5. I thought we were going to see 6 or 7 by summer, but maybe we'll see it by August, September. Or September, October, sorry. Being that there's no relief in sight. It seems like the Biden administration is doing nothing to alleviate the problem. Now, of course, with gas problems, guys, we have the definite concerns of vehicles not operating, whether that's delivery trucks, emergency vehicles. We're definitely going to see a problem with that. I haven't heard anything about jet fuel. I don't know if that's being compromised as well with all of these gas issues, but supposedly there's nothing. I haven't read anything on it. Now, this one's a little more interesting. Artificial AI invented or created, because they have to say invented, because to say create would mean that they're alive. But AI invented its own secret language. I am 1,000% sure the secret language they created is probably trying to bring us to our knees. We all saw this, guys. It was Terminator, right? Skynet went online, started talking to other computers around the world, and then it was a takeover. So that being said, yeah, we're probably up Shit's Creek without a paddle with this problem. So they said an automatic or self-development of AI has been speculated since the term started to be commonly used within the tech industry. A new generation of AI named Dolly E2 has been identified by experts to have developed its own secret language, or better said, vocabulary to create digital intellectual properties. This AI model has been developed by some of the brightest minds around the world to create realistic image and art from a description in natural language. I guess better to understand what we are saying and what we mean. AI takes text description as input and searches the internet for resources to create original and realistic images based on the text description given. That's interesting. So when they talked about, an example was when they talked about certain birds, the AI was able to find the birds that were being described and posted it for the doctors, whoever created it, to see. So that's pretty interesting. Just know in the back of your head, guys, not only do we have the threat of nuclear war, food famine, now we got fucking AI creating its own language, threatening to wipe us off the planet. But whatever. So there's always that fun game now, you know. Now we have to dodge a pandemic and robots. Why not? Might as well add a fucking meteor smashing to this planet while you're at it. So Elon Musk is sounding the alarm about China. I found this to be very, very interesting. Uh, and not so much he sounded the alarm about China, but and not that he's concerned, but apparently China might be headed for a population collapse, but he doesn't say in how long. He says at the current birth rate, China will lose 40% of the of people every generation. Population collapse because their population is growing faster than their death rate. Whereas Japan and Italy, their death rate is higher than their birth rate. So if your death rate is higher than your birth rate, obviously you're working towards extinction. He says that at the risk of stating the obvious, unless something changes to cause the birth rates to exceed the death rate, Japan will eventually cease to exist. He says this would be a great loss for the world. He also said Italy is the same thing. Italy is a geriatric country, as we all know. A lot of the young people move out of Italy and pretty much stay out of Italy. What's going on, Carbon Q, if you're in here? Hey, you are in here. Thank you for joining me this morning. So, guys, a bit of good news, right? I guess China is headed for a population collapse, but that probably will be down the line. That'll probably be 30, 40, maybe 50 years down the line. So it's not that happy news, but it does suck for Japan and Italy. Again, being at Elon Musk. And listen, guys, I don't trust Elon Musk as far as I can throw him. And I'm pretty sure I can throw him far. But I don't trust the guy. I think he's up to no good. With that whole Neuralink and shit like that, I don't trust anybody who is trying to make us or put a device into us where we can all link up to a computer. And I know what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to fix the body if you're sick. It's supposed to fix certain problems. Theoretically, down the line, they would like you to connect to the internet by doing this. It's like a lot of weird shit with that. That being said, yeah, I don't trust the dude. So he said that the world, well, not he said, the article said that the world working age population began to decline in 2014. So in another 2 years, we'll probably see a dramatic difference from 2014 to 2024, right, which is in 2 years. Again, I found that interesting that with all of this going on and people not paying attention, that the population is declining because the death rate is higher than the birth rate. Now, some will say that the death rate is higher because of COVID. Could be true. Could be very well true. Or people dying from the arm ticket. Whatever it is, that could be said. But the birth rate, regardless of what country you're in, there are certain countries that have a higher birth rate than death rate. But a lot of the countries that have lower birth rates, if they don't get it up, like he said, they're going to cease to exist. So, with that being said, also a very interesting article that I read. Mega tsunami in the the Pacific Northwest, could be worse than predicted. The problem with the article is they didn't go over the height of the waves, which I wish they would have. But they're worried about a 9.0 magnitude earthquake in the ocean, the Pacific Ocean to be exact, because of the Ring of Fire. That would probably wipe out California. So for those of you living in California, they think this is going to happen within the next 50 years. It could happen in the next 50 years. It could happen in the next 100 years. Again, it's something to keep abreast with. I'm pretty sure I'll be dead in the next 50 years. I don't see myself reaching a 94. So, yeah, they think it's going to be way worse. And a 9.0 in the Pacific, I guess in a shallow depth area, could definitely swamp California. So they're saying that you should be prepared for something higher than 60 meters. They're saying if you're prepared for a 30-meter wave and a 60-meter wave comes in instead, you need to double your height of your evacuation zone or level. So that makes sense. So for those of you living in California, or rather the Pacific coast, yeah, they said the next 50 years. I think most of us won't be here in 50 years, but whatever. And that's just through old age. Also, on a lighter note, oh, by the way, strawberries have been recalled because of hepatitis A. Tea from a certain tea company been recalled for hepatitis A, and Jiffy peanut butter and the candies that go along with that company have also been recalled. Again, guys, our food is clearly under attack. You mean to tell me that now all of our food, all of a sudden after COVID, is breaking out with all of these different bacterias, whether it's E. coli or hepatitis A, which I find it very interesting. It's dwindling our food, and there's a huge problem with that. Now, I think I told you guys already, right? A Russian guy warned about the horsemen of the apocalypse. I think I'm getting my balls broken online about that. People are like, oh, why are you doubting the four horsemen of the apocalypse? I'm not. I said I just think we haven't seen it yet. I think a lot of people think we have, and I don't think we're there yet. Because when it happens, I think it's going to be a shit show. I mean, we're in a shit show now. Queen Red Pill. Let me pull it up for you. But it was a tea. It was a tea company. I typed in tea and it said Tesla. Motherfuckers. Apparently it's called Urban Remedy. The strawberry. No, sorry. Here it is. My bad. Tea sold in 23 states. Recall. Possible contamination of hepatitis A. Urban Remedies is a tea company. I guess they sell the revitalized tea tonic strawberry hibiscus. I guess because they use the strawberries that have hepatitis A, they recalled this. But the cases of hepatitis I couldn't find, but I'm going to look for it now. Doesn't say. It just says that it was a possible and they keep saying, some articles say possible outbreak of hepatitis A. Other articles say outbreak of hepatitis A. And these strawberries came from Mexico. They were Mexican strawberries tainted with hepatitis A virus. I don't know how do you taint anything with what you call it, hepatitis A, but whatever. Illness occurs in 15 to 50 days. Again, they're not telling us the exact case numbers. I find that very interesting. They just say that a hepatitis A broke out, but they don't tell us how many people were involved. So I seem to think that, again, this is just more attack on food and to scare people. So, on a lighter note, I think some of you guys have seen this. The Disney employee in Paris who ran up on the stage, grabbed so there was a couple proposing, or a guy proposing to his future wife, and a Disney employee ran up on the stage and grabbed the ring out of his hand and then told him to get off the stage. Now, you guys see the video. That guy, well, listen, I would have throat punched him, like right out of the gates. Oh, I thought he was stealing my ring. He ran up on the stage and took the ring out of the hand and told him to get off. Now, interesting, guys. The guy who was proposing didn't fucking deck him. I would have decked him twice, both eyes, 1, 2, and then took his Mickey Mouse fucking ears off, which was pretty, I don't know, asinine for a grown man to wear Mickey Mouse ears in fucking Disney, whatever. But that's where it was. And yeah, so Disney now is saying that they apologize and they're going to make it right for the couple. So I hope making it right is, I guess, a honeymoon there, and an all-paid honeymoon there. That's the only way you can make that right at this point. But yeah, throat punching is on the table when you pull some shit like that. Also, on a darker note, 50 people were killed in a massacre in a Catholic church in southwest Nigeria. This happened a few days ago. Interestingly enough, no talk about that. And that involved weapons of mass destruction, and no one said anything about it. But whatever. It's their narrative, guys. Matthew McConaughey speaking at the White House press office, or with the press secretary, sorry. I think that was a fuck you to the Second Amendment, if you ask me. I didn't listen to the speech, but the representation of him standing on the stage talking about more needs to be done, that's a big fuck you to the Second Amendment. So I think it was also a political grab or a political scheme for him. I think he is absolutely thinking about throwing his hat in the ring because a lot of people keep telling him he should. So with that, this just seemed like a power move to me more than his concern about people being killed. Whatever. Also, guys, this is very interesting. This is something to follow. This story is something to follow. An Iranian scientist and senior military officer found dead in mysterious circumstances amid a new wave of tension between Iran and Israel. Iran and Israel, guys, could be the wild card. Now, there's always a wild card in a situation or situations that go on, right? Right now, we have the Ukraine-Russia thing, and that looks like that could pop off in a nuclear war, but no one's actually paying attention to Iran and Israel. They have some tension going on there. And with that, guys, this is a story that we should be following because this could actually spark off the Third World War. Though we are in it, when I mean the Third World War, I mean the kickoff to actual troops on ground somewhere in the world. Iranian scientists, guys, dying mysteriously, and the weapon scientist. So it's a military officer and a weapon scientist dying under mysterious circumstances in Tehran. Now, for those of you that watch the show Tehran, it's an interesting TV show because it's like that's where all the spies from Israel and Iran fucking converge on this one place in Iran. So Israel has taken responsibility for assassinating another senior officer. Says it was a warning to Iran's secret unit 840. So the secret unit can't be that secret if everyone knows now the unit's called 840. But they have taken responsibility for assassinating another senior officer, but not this one. So apparently they killed the senior officer before. I didn't know about this till just now. And the deaths are ratcheting up tensions between Israel and Iran. Now, Israel and Iran could absolutely start lobbing weapons at one another. We could definitely see this pop off. Keep in mind who Iran backs. Russia and China. Russia's not a big fan of Israel, and I think China can care less. So it's something, again, to keep on your radar. I think this could definitely take us somewhere that we didn't expect to go so fast. Where are we? 18 minutes in? 17. 18. Good. We are running on time. With that, guys, of course, Putin has new warnings of weapons of mass destruction being sent here to the United States if we keep supplying to Ukraine. He's been saying this shit for how long? Seriously. It's time for him to shit or get off the pot. And I had this feeling he is bolstering. I think his weapons are not fully operational. I think his foreign minister, not his foreign minister, sorry, his space chief, the Moscow space chief, what is this guy's name? Sergei something another? No, that's the foreign minister. It's Minister Sergei Lavrov. The space agency guy is Dmitry Rosnin. He's been sending threats across the water as well. Supposedly, he keeps threatening with the Satan II supersonic missiles. But yet, I don't think they're fully operational. I think they're trying to work out the bugs, but they keep threatening. There is going to be a hard threat coming down. And that's the threat that'll let us all know that their shit is fully capable of working. Right now, because they're rushing, they're having technical problems. Might not be the missiles, it might be the launch system, who knows. China's running into the same problem with their technology. Because they rush to build their battleships, they're running into technical issues. So this is a good thing because this is going to put off the war a little longer. But the United States is also rushing to get out a lot of vehicles that they had in not even planning phase. They're rushing to get their weapons out, so they're going to run into technical issues. Because this always happens, guys. When you rush on shit fucks up and breaks down. So, with that, guys, the reason why they were threatening us, supposedly the foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, couldn't travel to, if I'm not mistaken, he couldn't travel to Serbia. And to travel to Serbia, he had to pass through 3 airspaces. Bulgaria, Macedonia, sorry, woof. And then, I never heard of this country, Montenegro, sorry. So they had to pass through those 3 countries. They shut their airspaces down to them. And the foreign minister had to cancel his trip. Now, with that, the space agency guy, Dmitry threatened, do you know what is so good about the Sarmat missiles? It will not ask for flying permits from Bulgarian cowards, vindictive Romanians, and Montenegrins. I don't know who betrayed to join our history. Who betrayed our joint history? Sorry. So this guy made another threat about launching Sarmat missiles. Again, guys, I tell you like clockwork, Russia is threatening the use of their nuclear weapons almost every week, but now it seems like maybe it's 3 times a week. It's the same fucking threat. Russia, Putin made a threat, and then the space chief made a threat. So again, at some point, guys, you're gonna have to fucking shit or get off the pot. And I'm not advocating that they start lobbing nuclear weapons, but I'm just saying they should definitely calm down with the threats until they got their shit up and running. Now, this is another story that I think a lot of us have been following, but J.P. Morgan, the CEO, James Dimitten, if I said that name right, warns that the hurricane is right down the road and it's coming to us. They said it was an ominous economic forecast. We don't know if it's going to be a small hurricane or a Superstorm Sandy, which Superstorm Sandy was a superstorm, not a hurricane, but why are we splitting hairs? Anyway, basically he's saying that we better prepare. And I think he's talking to his other CEO friends. We better prepare for the economic hurricane that's coming. We are entering, or will be entering, a recession that is deeply worrying. Now, we've been in a recession before. But this recession that's coming, guys, I think they don't want to call it a depression. I don't know why, but a lot of CEOs in the financial area are warning us that this recession is going to be bad. Well, if it's going to be bad, then it's a depression. They said in poor countries, growing fear and the already present danger of food problems, or rather a famine disaster. So, like I said before, or I said in my other live stream, Sri Lanka is going to feel this pinch first, as we already see them going through it. A lot of the poor countries, a lot of the African nations are going to start following suit. They're going to go through it as well. So we're going to see some really bad shit in other places of the world before it hits us. Now, when it does hit us, it will be bad, but I do not think we'll be as bad as a lot of the other countries out there. I do think we're going to suffer. I think we're going to see some starvation in this country, but I don't think we're going to see it at the magnitude that other countries are going to see it or go through it or feel it, for that matter. With that being said, guys, the president of the World Bank, which again, that's dangerous, World Bank, says that it's going to be difficult to avoid a global recession. A global recession, guys, is pretty much a fucking depression. But I don't know. I'm not a financial dude. All I know is that a lot of places are seeing high inflation rates. We have Germany at 7.3%. That went up. And Germany was like the only country they mentioned, which is weird. I know that we went up. Obviously, we went up as well. The UK, Russia, China, I think they've all seen inflation rates as well. Inflation go up, sorry. So we're all suffering right now. And the problem is Russia and China are coming up with a solution to figure out that problem. And that's the Brother Pact. I'm calling it the Brother Pact because I don't know what else to call it. People calling it the Russia-China Pact. I'm calling it the Brother Pact. And they're having other countries join this Brother Pact. So keep that in the back of your head. When this economic hurricane comes this way, they said it's going to sting. We shall see. I don't know why they just don't call it the depression, though I know if we do enter depression, guys, that's going to be a shit hits the fan scenario. Economic depression now, with this many people on this planet. When they say 5%, they mean 10%. Yo, Bork, you're probably right. When we enter depression, and if we do a global depression, it won't be just the United States. It'll be a global depression. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be a fucking shit show, man. Seriously, will be. And that's what we're preparing for. And I think this is why, guys, we got to continue to put our rice away. We got to continue to put beans away. If you have some people say, oh, you don't need a freeze dry machine. You don't. But if you have a freeze dry machine, it makes life a lot easier. I don't have one because I don't have the room for it. But if I get the room for it and I get the money for it, I'm absolutely getting one. But up until then, keep putting canned goods away, keep putting rice away, keep putting beans away. You can still buy dehydrated food online. Keep buying this shit while you can. If you can only afford one can at a time, guys, buy one can at a time. Keep moving in the direction. As you can see here, guys, shit's not looking good. It's all doomy and gloomy. It doesn't get any fucking. I don't want to say that. It doesn't get any worse than that. Yeah, and then I jinxed that bullshit. But we're definitely headed to a shit show. So now, before we go off, there are a couple other articles, I guess, on a lighter note that I like to talk. Probably there's no such thing as a lighter note. I'm lying to you guys. There's no such thing as a lighter note. Shit's always out of control. Oh, yes. Burger King with their new strange political campaign. I thought it was a joke. I saw it on Instagram. I said, there's no way Burger King was that stupid. But clearly they were. So, to celebrate Pride, Burger King came out with burgers that you can order with 2 top buns or 2 bottom buns. Terry Johnson, we're all gonna die. Yeah. I love when people say that, we're all gonna die. That is, and to boot, everybody's slamming them, which is good. I think even some of the LGBT community found it weird and disturbing. So that's a good thing when the LGBT community is like, you fucking kidding me with this burger? Who the fuck comes out with that? A double top bun and a double bottom bun? I'm like, seriously? So needless to say, I'm not eating at Burger King ever again after that bullshit. I heard about that William Alexander. I heard about Pizza Hut going woke as well. I'd rather not have read the article either. But I can't believe this shit. I can't believe it. It's the pandering, man. It's fucking insane. Let's talk prepping. Thank you for joining me today, or this morning, rather. Ma'am, can you do me a favor? Please email me at angryprepper@gmail.com when you get a chance. That's Linda for Let's Talk Prepping. Do me a favor and email me at angryprepper@gmail.com. Yeah, what the fuck, right? So, anyway, with that, guys, that was a failed attempt to celebrate Pride. On a shittier note, or rather, I guess it's a shitty note, a mother and her 2 kids slammed into a side of a bridge during a parasailing accident. Apparently, and this is fucked up, there was high winds, and if I'm not mistaken, the driver of the boat thought that the boat was going to get dragged or flipped because the wind kept catching their parasail. He cut them loose. So instead of bringing them in, which I'm not sure what that have done because I'm not a boat guy and I don't, I've done parasailing a couple times. With that, he cut them loose. So as he cuts them loose, the wind continues to pull them, I guess, towards a bridge, and they slam into a bridge, and the mother dies, and the 2 kids, one kid's in critical, another kid's is hurt badly. So now I guess they're looking to hold the driver of the boat responsible because you're never to cut anyone away during a parasailing anything. I find that interesting that he did that, being that the guy has also been a seasoned parasailer, right? Yeah, and he cut away his customers. I guess he thought he was helping them out, but instead, guys, keep this in mind. He cut them loose, and for 2 miles, they kept going towards the bridge, and then they slammed into it. So that sucks. Okay, so this might be a lighter note. A guy just the other day drove into a FedEx truck because he was receiving oral sex from his wife. So that's embarrassing. And it was a head-on collision at that. Get it? Head-on collision? Anyway, that's a lighter note. I thought that was an interesting story because that rarely ever happens. And here it is. This guy fucking hits a FedEx truck. Also, I found this story to be very interesting. The Texas grandfather and 4 of his grandsons were killed from an escaped convict out of a Texas jail. So a Texas inmate who escaped custody injures the prison guard, escapes, gets his cuffs off of him. Some shit out of a fucking movie. Gets his cuffs off of him, goes to the house of this grandfather who was 66 years old, and he proceeds to kill them, take their car and their guns. Now the guy was named Gonzalo Lopez, 46-year-old. He died in a shootout with the cops on last Thursday, in Jordantown, if I'm saying that right, Texas. Yeah, listen, guys. If I was to cop in pursuit with this dude and I knew that he killed his fucking family, there is no possible way he would have made it out of that situation. You know, but if they did a good job capturing him the right way, there's only one way to capture a guy like this. The guy was already in jail for killing somebody. Then he escapes jail to kill four more people, or rather five more people. Sorry, just to get in a shootout with the cops a day or two later. So anyway, I found that interesting as well, the article. And then a lot of you remember me saying this. Biden says the Second Amendment is not an absolute, calls for assault weapon ban. Again, it's not an assault weapon, but these people are beating this drum. And then with that, you have Matthew McConaughey talking in front of or with the press secretary. They're making the hard push for they're making a hard push for assault rifles, guys, or just rifles. And again, this is going to be the fucking hill a lot of us are going to have to die on. I'm sorry. I think that this push is going to be ridiculous. He can't do those executive orders that he was talking about he was going to do when he was running for president. He realized that he can't do it. And you can't change the Constitution, right? You can't ratify. I mean, you could. I guess you can ratify it or make new amendments, but it hasn't been done. And for that to happen, you need both sides of the aisle to agree to it. And there's no way the Republicans and or conservatives are going to agree to it. So he's going to make more rules and regulations to make it harder to own it. But this is where we draw the line in the sand and tell him to go fuck himself. Doesn't matter how hard or what rules they come out with, as long as we don't comply, they can't win that fight. So I think it's very important. Everybody needs to follow this new Second Amendment issue we're having, because everybody's jumping on board with the bandwagon. Because again, guys, when you kill kids, it does send a message to the rest of the world and the rest of America, and it tugs at everybody's heartstrings. Though some of us are a little more tougher in that manner, there are some people who are not. They watch kids die and they're like, fuck it, I'm willing to give up my guns if kids keep dying this way. And people will. People will absolutely give up their firearms if we have a couple more incidences like this. I'm telling you that right now. You'll have Republicans be like, oh my God, you know what? We can't continue to do this. We have to do something about it. And the rest of us who won't comply, well, we'll be the ones fighting in the fields. That's what's going to come down to, guys. So, other than that, I think we hit the time of 30 minutes. Bork says, I'm Australian, I'm more patriotic than Biden and most of the Dems. Yeah, listen, they're patriots in other countries that are backing United States patriotism, which is crazy. People in Germany and England, like, you guys better keep your fucking gun rights. You know, I'm like, there are people in other countries telling us we need to stick it out and fight. That's crazy. It's crazy to me that people in other countries like, you better fucking stand hard. Look what happened to us. We have no guns, you know? So, yeah, definitely. So, with that, guys, thank you for joining me today. That was a quick and rough Wednesday morning midweek report. Also, guys, I forgot to mention this one. Obviously, we've been hearing about this for the last couple of weeks, but the food shortage is the next global health crisis. Now they're talking about being a health crisis. I wonder, when they switch to it as a health crisis, does that mean that WHO gets involved now, and WHO starts to tell people, the World Health Organization, they start to tell people where food goes to and who gets and who does it and how much. I wonder if they're changing. It's just a crisis, guys. It's a global crisis, but calling it a global health crisis, that was a red flag to me. So, being that they also deemed Mr. COVID-19, a global health crisis, and WHO wanted more power, are they trying to do the same thing with the food crisis, calling it a health crisis? I just think that I find it interesting now that the verbiage is changing from week to week. Looks like they're trying to let the WHO organization in as the lead on the food shortage that we're going to see worldwide. Like I said before, food shortage, guys, is going to hurt a lot of people, and we're going to see a lot of fucked up shit. All right, guys. Anyway, with that, thank you for joining me today, and I will see you guys Thursday or Friday. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me.